Alright guys, so is there a 10th planet? Now I said 10 because this right here is planet number 9. This is Pluto. When I grew up, Pluto was designated a planet, and then some pesky scientists came along and decided to change the definition of planet, and Pluto got demoted to dwarf planet. I've been butthurt ever since about it. I've got a real chip on my shoulder. So this potential new planet is referred to as planet 9. Now whatever your opinion is on Pluto, even just calling it a number is kind of confusing. Now I want to show you this article real quick. A 9th planet in our solar system may have just been discovered. Now this discovery has nothing to do with this so-called planet 9 we're going to look at in this video, but I want to highlight a sentence here. So this one is data gathered in 1983. Now it says here, the news could provide some solace to people who are still upset over Pluto's demotion to dwarf planet. Now as far as I'm concerned, this provides absolutely no solace. You know, the downgrading of Pluto, it was kind of like getting dumped by some beautiful hot chick, and this whole we may have discovered a new planet. It's like saying, oh well, you can't have Pluto anymore, the hot chick, but there's some fat ugly chick out there that may be interested. You know what, screw that. I want Pluto, I want the hot chick. So this so-called planet 9, it's a hypothetical planet in the outer region of the solar system. Its gravitational effects could explain the peculiar clustering of orbits for a group of extreme trans-Neptunian objects, or ETNOs. Now before I move on, I want to come up with a better name for this, and luckily we have one, because the guys behind this, Konstantin Batygin and Mike Brown, they actually came up with their own name that's much better than Planet 9, and here it is. We actually call it Phattie when we're just talking to each other, Brown said. There we go. They actually call it Phattie. So those of you who might have been insulted by my analogy earlier, well, these guys actually call their own planet Phattie. So there you go. So if you have a problem with my analogy from before, well, you can go to complain to these guys and leave me the hell alone. And just a note here, Brown has stated we actually call it Phattie. So look at the spelling here. It's a PH, not the F here. This one, I guess, is slightly less insulting because it's not, you know, fatty. So apparently Phattie is a slang word for cool. Cool or awesome. I've never heard of this term, but there you go. I'm not hip with like the cool kids. I don't know some of these words going around. So here's a paragraph from a planetary scientist. Alan Stern objected to the name Planet 9, saying it's an effort to erase Clyde Tombaugh's legacy. Clyde Tombaugh, he was the guy who discovered Pluto. And frankly, it's insulting, suggesting the name Planet X until its discovery. So he signed a statement with 34 other scientists saying we further believe the use of this term should be discontinued in favor of culturally and taxonomically neutral terms for planets such as Planet X, Planet Next, or Giant Planet 5. According to Mike Brown, Planet X is not a generic reference to some unknown planet, but a specific prediction of Lowell's, which led to the accidental discovery of Pluto. Calling it Planet X doesn't make sense because this was a proposed planet by this astronomer Percival Lowell, but I do agree with the sentiment that Planet 9 is not a good name. So whether it's an insult to Pluto and Clyde Tombaugh and all of us Pluto fans, I just think it's confusing regardless. Like even Giant Planet 5 is kind of confusing. Any name with a number is going to be confusing. Planet Next, Planet I don't like any of these. So I prefer Phattie because I just find it funny. So from here on in, I'm going to be calling this planet Phattie. This Phattie planet is still hypothetical. It hasn't been observed directly, but these guys reckon it exists because of the peculiar orbits of these other objects which they can observe. So here's some quick facts about it. It's supposedly roughly 13 to 26 times the distance from Neptune to the Sun. The planet is estimated to have 5 to 10 times the mass of the Earth, and a radius of 2 to 4 times Earth. So bigger than planet Earth. Now where did it come from? There's a few theories. It might have been ejected from the neighborhood of the known giant planets. So in other words, it got kicked out of the rough area where the giant planets are. Some believe that Jupiter may have flung it out. Another theory is that it was captured from another star. So billions of years ago, stars were closer to our star, the sun, and our solar system may have captured it from another system. Or it could have just formed where it is now. So in situ formation, it just built up over millions of years where it is now. And here is the evidence. So basically you have clustering of the orbits of these other objects and the strange perpendicular orbits. And here is a quick video showing you the planets, the giant planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. So here are these objects with the weird orbits, and they think this planet 9 is causing these weird orbits. That's the evidence right there. Here's some diagrams of these orbits. One of these is Sedna. So Sedna is one of the larger trans-Neptunian objects, so objects that are way beyond the orbit of Neptune. So here's Sedna. Now I want to just show you this one real quick. This is Eris, and look how big it is. It's actually just slightly smaller than Pluto. So this is considered a dwarf planet like Pluto, and here is an image of it. Maybe this is planet 10, Eris. Here is its orbit. Now at its closest point, it actually is about the same distance from the sun as Neptune. So it gets relatively close. And then at its furthest point, it's maybe 2 or 3 times the distance that Neptune is from the sun. I would say Eris is a candidate to be called a planet as well. It's designated a dwarf planet. A lot of other astronomers doubt this existence of the Phattie planet. And some people claim that Brown and Battigan are guilty of observing biases. So what does observer bias mean? So observer bias occurs in research when the beliefs or expectations of an observer or investigator can influence the data that's collected in a study. This causes the results of a study to be unreliable and hard to reproduce in other research settings. So going back here to these diagrams, it's not certain that these are the orbits. So this is kind of guesswork based on observations, and some scientists believe that the Phattie planet people are actually coming up with these models based on bias, that these are the results they want to get in order to form the evidence the planet Phattie exists. So guys, when you hear terms like trust the science and trust scientists, know that there's huge bias going on with scientists. So it doesn't have to be deliberate biases. It's just how humans are. So these guys may be just biased that they so desperately want to discover a planet. I mean, the prestige of discovering a planet is huge. And so these guys are desperate to try and prove that this planet exists. Here is where they think the planet may be, roughly. So when you're looking in the night sky, here is Orion. And they reckon this is where it was 1,000 years ago. This is where it was in the year 2000, 3000. 1,000 years from now is going to be getting closer to Orion, but they're not sure. So until planet 9 is caught on camera, it does not count as being real. All we have now is an echo. So this was Battigan who said this, and Brown puts the odds of the existence of planet 9 at about 90%. So to give these guys a bit of credit, they're not saying it definitely exists. They're putting it at 90%. Some other astronomer called Greg Laughlin puts it at 68.3%. Now that's a very specific percentage. And these other skeptical scientists demand more data. And here we have some alternative hypotheses, coincidental clustering, and shepherding by a massive disk. And here's an interesting one, primordial black hole. So some people think that it's actually a black hole that's causing this clustering of orbits. And that might actually be more significant than another planet. That there's like this kind of small black hole that was formed in the early universe, and that's what's causing these clusters. So that would be a huge discovery, even bigger than another planet. So there you go, guys. The jury's still out on this supposed planet, Planet Phattie. And hopefully over the next 10 or 15 years, we're going to find out whether it exists or not. Now, I plan to do a lot more videos in the future on astronomy, and I'm going to be doing videos on my beloved Pluto as well, and this whole changing the definition of planets and all this nonsense by astronomers. It's a subject I feel very strongly about. So if you're into this subject, make sure you like the video, comment in the comment section, let me know what you think about Pluto, and let me know about this so-called Phattie planet, Planet 9. Do you think it exists? Until next time, see you guys later.